Representative Omar.
I think a commission decision is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut with it.
In a tense exchange during the hearing, Representative İlhan Omar questioned whether any employer ever decreases pay for underperforming employees, calling the concept strange. Former business owner Representative Barb O'Neill and others pushed back with real-world examples from the private sector, exposing a stark disconnect.
Chair, Representative O'Neill, I'm just wondering, are there, I was a union member for a long time, and I've also gotten an opportunity to work in the private sector, and I'm curious to know if you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees. I find that a little strange, and so I just wanted to know where that thought comes from, and if you know where an employee gets their pay decreased.
Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I was a business owner. I recently sold my share, so I don't own it anymore, but there are plenty of businesses out there, especially those that depend on employees' productivity, like I was in the trades. So I owned a company that was a tile setting company, and if we didn't get out there and do the work, and if I didn't have highly productive employees, they were paid based on their productivity. So if they had issues, it is very possible that their pay would reflect those issues. If they were on probation for something, for some sort of violation, that could be coordinated with a pay reduction. It's something that businesses do all the time, and it could be the step before someone is actually fired. So it's an important thing, and it gets people's attention, when they see it in their paycheck that their performance does not meet the standard.
Representative Omar.
Hudson, I think, did you have something?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Hudson. Was there a question for Mr. Hudson?
No, I think he was saying that he wanted to add something, so I didn't know if he had something to add.
Mr. Hudson, is there a response to the question? Do you have a response to that question?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am.
Are you saying that you aren't aware of any businesses that decrease pay? Because that was the question.
Madam Chair, I think what Chair O'Neill perhaps could be referring to, there are some instances where the pay structure is different. So for an example, she had indicated that she had come out of the towel industry. I'm not sure if these were commission employees who may have been on like an 80-20 split. In that instance, there is a situation where a pay might be reduced. Or if we have a supervisor who perhaps had a performance improvement issue or a behavioral concern, and we demoted this supervisor, that is an instance where pay might be decreased. But just an employee who has not been under some sort of performance improvement program, having their pay reduced, I've never heard of that.
Well, Mr. Hudson, I think Representative Neal knows exactly what she says. And I think we've had a little conversation back here when the question was asked. I know Representative Uglem, do you want to speak to that point?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Omar, if you happen to be a salesman in this world, and you can be selling cars, you could be selling siding, you could be selling just about anything, and you are paid on commission. So if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. So you can have good years, you can have bad years. Probably really one of the best examples is a real estate agent. So it's the idea that people can make less money year to year, not to mention all the bonus situations that are out there in industry. It happens. It happens a lot. It doesn't necessarily happen, here in the public sector, but it's pervasive and very, very common in the private sector. Thank you.
And I'd like to add that in the private sector as well, people, if they are not performing at their job, get demoted, and with that demotion comes a pay cut. And that's not even related to being in a commission position, that's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today. And
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut.
This confrontation laid bare a fundamental divide in understanding how the American economy actually functions. When Representative Omar expressed genuine surprise at the idea of pay reductions tied to performance, she opened a window into a perspective that seems far removed from the daily realities faced by millions of workers and business owners across the country. Rep. Barb O'Neill, drawing directly from her experience as a tile-setting company owner in the trades, explained without hesitation that productivity determines compensation. In her business, if employees failed to meet standards or faced probation for violations, their pay reflected those shortcomings. It served as a clear signal before potential termination, a practice she described as commonplace in industries reliant on output and results. O'Neill's response was grounded, practical, and rooted in the accountability that keeps private enterprises viable. She sold her share recently but spoke with the authority of someone who has met payroll, managed deadlines, and witnessed firsthand how underperformance impacts not just the individual but the entire operation. The discussion expanded as other participants reinforced the point. Commission-based roles in sales, whether cars, siding, or real estate, were highlighted. If you do not sell, you do not earn. Good years bring rewards, slow periods bring less. Bonuses and incentives similarly fluctuate with results. Even beyond commissions, demotions for poor performance or behavioral issues in regular positions often come with pay adjustments. These mechanisms exist precisely because businesses operate in competitive markets where efficiency and value delivered matter. Unlike the public sector, where salaries can feel more insulated from immediate outcomes, the private sector ties reward to contribution. This is not punishment, it is the incentive structure that drives innovation, productivity, and economic growth. Representative Omar doubled down, insisting that commission pay differs from the matter at hand and appeared to separate it from broader performance discussions. Yet the witnesses clarified repeatedly that the principle applies universally. Failing to perform in a standard role can lead to demotion and the accompanying pay cut. This exchange highlighted more than a simple policy disagreement. It revealed how prolonged immersion in political and governmental environments can create distance from the economic rules that govern most Americans' lives. Business owners navigate risks daily, rising costs, client demands, competition, while ensuring fair but performance-linked compensation to sustain their operations and protect jobs for others. Why did this moment unfold as it did? Omar's line of questioning seemed aimed at framing private sector practices as potentially unfair or unusual, perhaps in the context of broader worker protection debates.